Good evening, everyone. We're calling to order the meeting of May 10th, 2022, Daytona Beach Shores City Council. We have a nice crowd here today. We must have an award or something we're giving. Also, everyone that is online, welcome. We appreciate you coming. Sherry, can you take a roll, please?
Yes, ma'am. Mayor Lewis?
Yes, here.
Vice Mayor Lindauer?
Here.
Councilmember Bryan?
Here.
Councilmember Frizzolo?
Here.
Councilmember Place?
Here.
Thank you, Sherry. Reverend Bob? I couldn't find you.
Maybe they're here to help you and Ed celebrate a belated anniversary.
I've been trying to tell everyone.
How long has this been going
We were 10 years old. Thank you, guys. 50 years.
Hey, hold on. 50 years. Let's do a standing ovation and then we put it.
Congratulations.
Thank
And you can stay standing as we pray together. Gracious and almighty God, we do come together this evening with grateful hearts, thankful for celebrations like anniversaries and birthdays and so many other things, the opportunity to award people with well-deserved recognition for accomplishments and so many other things that we do in community together. But tonight we come into these chambers not only celebrating, but with a sense of responsibility and duty. And so we ask your prayer, your blessing and your guidance, your wisdom and your care be with those whom we have placed this responsibility on, our elected officials, our staff, our dutiful servants of this city, and of course the residents that live here. We come with gratitude and with a sense of awe at the beauty of this day and what you have called us here to do. So be in the midst of us, guide and direct us with your grace and with your truth. We ask these things in the name of your holy presence, and we are honored to be here tonight. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Reverend Bob. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And talking about celebrations, we have our favorite time, our Employee Service Award. This is for Sergeant Vinny Castellano. Chief, can you come up?
Sure can. Come on, Vincent.
Thank you all for joining us tonight. I like to see when everyone's here supporting your brother.
I didn't know you were that popular. No. Look at me here. Come on.
I was working today, that's why.
You ordered him here,
So,
Chief.
10 years ago, I hired this young man, and he has been everything that we could have hoped for in an employee. And he's been recently promoted 6 months now. Yes, sir. And his dad is a retired cop from New York. And his dad came down here to swear, to pin his badge on. I'm pretty proud of him. So, as always, the 10-year awards, we get the diamond pin. And it's beautiful. Beautiful.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
That's right. Thank you, folks. This is very nice. They appreciate this. I do, too.
Well, we appreciate them. I hope they know how much.
There's a few people I haven't seen for months just showed up today.
Including those that work
Thank you
for
very
you.
much for coming this evening. Okay, next we're going to go over the approval of the minutes from our city council meeting for April 26th, 2022. Do hear motion to approve those minutes?
I move that we approve the minutes.
I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion on those minutes? Okay, if not, Sherry, can you take a roll, please?
Vice Mayor Lindauer?
Yes.
Councilmember Place?
Yes.
Councilmember Frizzolo?
Yes.
Councilmember Bryan?
Yes.
Mayor Lewis?
Yes, thank you. We do not have any items on the consent agenda, so we are going to go right on to our city attorney, and we're very happy to have her this evening. I guess she got caught on that Route 4 traffic, but she made it on time.
I certainly did, and finally it opened up and I was able to get here.
Great, thank you.
Okay, well, first of all, John Carey met with code enforcement staff regarding a stipulated agreement, and we reviewed the legal filings for that agreement, and we provided feedback on the agreement and relevant law. We began the process of attempting to get the fire truck ladders fixed or replaced under the fire truck ladder warranty. We reviewed and provided feedback on a comprehensive purchasing ordinance, and we reviewed documents and submitted documents to the Office of the Attorney General having to do with the opioid lawsuit. And we've also, everybody in our office is diligently studying, I haven't learned them all yet, but all the, it's later on the agenda, all the past bills for the Florida legislature. But that's it.
Okay, and when we were at a round table the other day, we had a presentation from the Volusia County, I think it was the assistant attorney, and he was explaining a lot about the opioid, who settled, who didn't, whatever, how much the county's getting and all of that. So that was a very nice overview. And what I would like to say as well is they asked every city for a recommendation on one of the citizens for an advisory board. So I'm very, very happy to say that Reverend Bob Kemp is our representative. I know he's going to do a fantastic job. And looking forward to hear some feedback from that. We were one of the few, well, I think 3 cities are left to have someone on the board. We were one of the first because we worked together on it originally. So, yeah, so we're moving forward on that. Do you have any other update? Have you heard anything else?
No, I have not.
Okay, all right. Yes, ma'am.
I have one question on the fire truck. Are you getting positive feedback on that, or are they trying to stonewall us, or what?
We're hoping, we've got fingers crossed. No results yet.
I can't hear them. Can you hear us okay, Ann? No. Okay. Are you hearing me okay?
Yeah.
All right, so I'll just make sure that everyone's talking. Okay, just like that. Okay, great, thank you. All right, thank you, Becky. Any other questions for our attorney? If not, City Manager Booker, what do you have for us this evening?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. G Beach, the event was last weekend, and the event was the biggest ever. Traffic on the beach was extremely heavy on Saturday and especially on Sunday, but I think our public safety folks did a great job, and I think Beach Patrol actually did a pretty good job too. Treasure Island Demolition, I stopped by there on the way to this meeting tonight, and it's slow and steady. It looks like, in my opinion, they will make the June, I believe it's June 8th deadline. Is the actual day, is that the actual day, Stuart? June the 8th? Yeah, the June 8th deadline. Special events legislation, as of this writing, Governor DeSantis has not signed the bill passed by the Florida State Legislature, allowing cities and counties to help control local costs associated with unsanctioned and unpermitted pop-up events. At the elected officials roundtable that I attended with the mayor, they did mention that bills are starting to trickle into the governor's office because apparently the governor, once it hits his desk, has 2 weeks in which to act on the bill. And in order not to overwhelm him, they're not giving him like 100 bills at a time. They're trickling them in shortly. So hopefully that bill will be signed into law. That's very important to us.
And the event that we think we're going to have, where did Captain Fowler go? I was going to ask if we still think we're getting. Captain Fowler, I had a question for you as you went out. Do you still feel like we're going to be getting somewhat of a truck event on the 10th, 11th, and 12th?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. All right. So City Manager Brooker was just saying we were at a round table yesterday and we talked to our legislatures, and the bill has still not been signed by the governor. I know Senator Wright is putting pressure on him, so we have just about a month to get it done.
And we're working on the appropriate signage and stuff.
Okay, all right, so Okay, great. And then, Mike, going back to Treasure Island, I was a little bit disappointed in the progress last week, so I did reach out to Peter Michella a couple of times last week. On Sunday, he said to me, Nancy, take the day off, when I went there and said, no one's working. But he is coming into town tomorrow, and he's meeting with the owner of Peace of Mind, so I think we'll get some action after that. So, any other questions on Treasure Island? Again, I just ask everyone to have patience. It took us 18 years to get to this point, so we're going to get there. And now that we see that they have 2 cranes working, I think we're going to see a lot of development in the next couple of weeks. Okay, any other questions? Questions for our city manager on his report? Yes, Vice Mayor.
Mike, I know you discussed this at the last meeting, but I had a resident ask about the crosswalk at the park. Is that the one that is still going to be done this year?
Yeah, the one at Peck Park is the one that's still in the budget. The other 2, they haven't secured funding for according to the.
I told them I thought that was the case, but I just wanted to confirm. Thank you.
Yes. And we still didn't get a date for the ribbon cutting grand opening, have we? Wow. All right. Okay, if there's no other questions, we're going to move on to the quasi-judicial hearing. Sherry, do you have people that you need to swear in?
I believe at least one.
I'll go ahead and read.
And you'll read, okay, I'm sorry, go ahead. You can.
No, it's okay. This is ordinance number 2022-08, an ordinance of the City of Daytona Beach Shores, Volusia County, Florida, assigning the RSF2 Urban Single Family Residential Detached District Zoning Classification to annexed single-family residential property generally located at 6 Carter Terrace, short tax parcel ID 533400020190, providing modification of the official zoning map, providing for implementing administrative actions, providing for non-codification, providing for an effective date.
Thank you. Sherry?
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank
And
you.
if there are any other people who will be speaking tonight on this issue, they should be sworn too.
Do we have anyone else that will be speaking on this? Okay, if not, then you,
And I'd like to ask if there have been any ex parte communications with regard to this property? No, I'm seeing a negative
No.
response by all the elected
Sorry, I'm
officials.
sorry.
no?
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so you'll explain this. So we have had this come in front of us several times, and I know it's a process formality. Is this the last step in the process?
Yes, Madam Mayor, Councilmember. Yes, Madam Mayor, council members. For the record, my name is Stuart Cruz, Community Service Director with the City of Daytona Beach Shores. I just wanted to advise the council that this is a second reading of a rezoning that's associated with this property and the subsequent item on the agenda as well. The reason why there was a gap in between it is because the rezoning cannot officially take place without the future land use map amendment taking effect. And we had to transmit the future land use map amendment, which is part of the comprehensive plan, to the VGMC, which is the Volusia Growth Management Commission, for their review and sign off. And they have since signed off on this. And as such, we're moving forward, and that's the reason why you see all these items on the agenda tonight. What I want to say for the record is that this particular application meets all the standards for rezoning in the city's land development code and consistent with state law and normal planning practices. And so staff is recommending approval of this particular ordinance and rezoning. If there's any questions, I'll be happy to take those. And just one thing I forgot to mention is that this is for a single-family home. So it's going to be single-family, changing from single-family in Volusia County to single-family in Daytona Beach Shores. So it's basically a like for this item and for all the other items in the agenda.
Okay, great, thank you. Do I hear a motion to accept ordinance 2022-08?
I move we approve 2022-08.
Thank you. Do I hear a
I'll
second?
second it.
Thank you. Any comment or any questions? Sherry, can you take the roll on that, please?
Councilmember Bryan?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Lindauer?
Yes.
Councilmember Colitis?
Yes.
Councilmember Frizzalone?
Yes.
Mayor Miller?
Yes, thank you. And Becky, can you please read ordinance 2022-09 for us?
Yes, this is ordinance number 2022-09, an ordinance of the the City of Daytona Beach Shores, Volusia County, Florida, assigning the RSF2 Urban Single Family Residential Detached District zoning classification to annexed single-family residential property generally located at 3102 Liberty Avenue, short tax parcel ID 53340208010, providing modification of the official zoning map, providing for implementing administrative actions, providing for non-codification, providing for an effective date. Thank you.
Hey, Stuart, you have to go over this one, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Again, council members, this is a like-for-like transaction for an annexed property from single-family Volusia County to single-family Daytona Beach Shores. This application meets all the standards that the city has and prevailing planning and case law, and so staff is recommending approval of this application.
Do I hear a motion to accept?
Has there been any ex parte communication about this?
No.
No.
Okay, great. Go ahead.
I recommend we approve ordinance 2022-09.
I second it.
Thank you. Any questions or any comments? Sherry, can you take a roll on this, please?
Councilmember Bryan?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Lindauer?
Yes.
Councilmember Pelatis?
Yes.
Councilmember Frislow?
Yes.
Mayor Miller?
Yes, thank you, Sherry. All right, we'll now go on to old business. This is ordinance 2022-06. Can you please read that for us?
Yes, this is ordinance number 2022-06, an ordinance of the City of Daytona Beach Shores, Volusia County, Florida, relating to comprehensive planning, amending the City of Daytona Beach Shores Comprehensive Plan, amending Chapter 1, Future Land Use Element by amending map L4 entitled Generalized Future Land Use Map 2030, assigning the residential low-intensity future land use designation to annexed single-family residential property generally located at 6 Carter Terrace, short tax parcel ID 5334000020190, providing for implementing actions, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, providing for non-codification, and providing an effective date.
Thank you, Attorney Voice. Okay, anything that you need to add on to this, or can you explain this to us, please?
Yes, Madam Mayor, thank you. So, batteries might be a little bit low on this. The only thing I want to just mention, Madam Mayor, council members, is that the difference between the zoning and the future land use ordinances or amendments is that zoning,
Sherry.
the difference between the zoning and the future land use is that zoning covers basically the short-term vision of what the city has, whereas the future land use map essentially looks at the longer range planning goals and objectives that the city has. So for this particular property, the long-term vision that the city has is that this will be single-family as well. So it's a like-for-like Volusia County future land use single-family designation, which is low-intensity, urban low-intensity, to essentially the same that the city has, which is urban low-intensity as well. So that's the only difference between the zoning and the future land use. And of course, this had to go to the BGMC for approval. They've since approved it. One thing I did want to mention, Madam Mayor, is that apparently the grandfather of the owner used to be the old police chief at one point in time. That's correct.
Which one, this
Daytona Beach Shores.
Caldwell?
Yes, yes. So somebody reminded me of that today, and I just wanted to mention that. Staff is recommending approval. It meets all the requirements of the city.
Okay, great, thank you very much. Do we hear a motion to accept 2020-06?
I move to approve ordinance 2022-06.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussions or any questions for our community service director? Okay, if not, Sherry, can you take a roll, please?
Councilmember Pelatis?
Yes.
Councilmember Bryan?
Yes.
Councilmember Frislow?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Lindauer?
Yes.
Mayor Miller?
Yes, thank you. Okay, next, Attorney Boyce, can you please read 2022-07?
Yes, this is ordinance number 2022-07, an ordinance of the City of Daytona Beach Shores, Volusia County, Florida, relating to comprehensive planning, amending the City of Daytona Beach Shores Comprehensive Plan, amending Chapter 1, Future Land Use Element, by amending map L4 entitled Generalized Future Land Use Map 2030, assigning the residential low-intensity future land use designation to annexed single-family residential property generally located at 3102 Liberty Avenue, short tax parcel ID 5334-0208-0010, providing for implementing actions, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, providing for non-codification, and providing an effective date.
Thank you. Stuart?
Madam Mayor, this is very similar to the previous ordinance. The only difference with this is that this is a vacant piece of property, and the property owner has already submitted building permits to the city's building department, and my understanding is that they're near acceptance and approval. So hopefully within the next few months, we'll see construction starting on this site.
Was there any variance needed?
There is no variance needed, and it will be a single-family home.
Did you have a question?
No, I've been aware of this project because I had a resident contact me, and Stuart's directly on point. It's going to be a very nice single-family residence, really nice people moving to the area. It's exactly what we had hoped for.
How large is this lot, Stuart?
The lot is a little bit over 3/4 of an acre, so 0.7 of an acre.
Nice. And no variances?
No variances.
Okay, great. Do I hear a motion to accept 2022-07?
I move we approve 2022-07.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Any questions for city manager? No, for our community service director.
How's that sound?
Yeah. Okay, if not, Sherry, can you take a roll, please?
Councilmember Bryan?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Lindauer?
Yes.
Councilmember Plitus?
Yes.
Councilmember Frizzlo?
Yes.
Mayor Miller?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next, thank you, Stuart. Next, we'll go on to new business, 2022 Florida Legislature final report. Will you be going over that with us?
Well, I would suggest that y'all take this home and look through it. There are a number of bills that passed. The governor has not dealt with everything that's in front of him. I'd like to be able to come to you at a future meeting when we know exactly, what ends up signed, or if it's not signed, it still passes. But if there's things that are vetoed, we will know soon. But I wanted to have y'all have this, and then I'd like to come back at a future meeting and actually go over the big things that will have an impact on the city.
Absolutely. One of the things that I know Councilman Bryan was following was the smoking, and I did see that that was approved with one tiny caveat. So when would that be something that we as a body would bring an ordinance for to say, yes, we want this in our parks?
Yes.
That's how it would work?
Yes.
Okay. All right, okay. And then same with Volusia County, would bring it to the beaches?
Or we can always hope, yes.
Okay.
Well, actually, I know that they control the beaches. I've got to look at the charter provision that deals with that to see if municipal ordinances can apply there. I've got to look. I don't know the answer to that, but I will research that.
Councilman Bryan, did you want the floor?
Yeah, the way the law is written, and I assume it doesn't conflict with the county charter, as long as we could pass an ordinance dealing with the beaches, as long as it doesn't conflict with anything that the county passes. And the last time I talked to the county chairman, he wasn't even aware that there was a bill that passed.
Okay.
So I don't know what.
It would be delightful if they would pass it countywide. I mean, that would be great, yeah.
And Becky, we talked about it at that time. I mean, now is way, way, way too soon. But if we passed it, then who has the ultimate to enforce it?
Okay, the city enforces the city ordinances.
Okay, but I'm saying if somehow the municipality of Daytona Beach Shore is the beach that's in our area, are you saying there's a chance that we could do that?
Yes.
Okay, then my follow-up question is, if we did that, who's gonna enforce that smoking on the beach? Would it be our public safety, or it would be our public safety?
Sure, if we've got the ordinance.
If we can't enforce city ordinances, that's us that enforces them. We can't enforce county ordinances, but we can enforce city ordinances.
So then you could drive onto the beach.
We drive on it now. We have traffic, we can enforce laws on the beach. It's just we don't enforce county ordinances.
Okay, great. Okay, just wondering about that, because that was pretty much of a hot topic.
Oh, sure. Absolutely, as it should be.
Great, okay, and again, we talked about another one that was special points, was that special events. We know he has not signed that yet. So yeah, if everyone could take this home, and then if we had any questions next time, that'd be great. Thank you so much. Okay, and then next the only other thing that we have new business is a request to extend concession parking, auxiliary facility, special exceptions. Stuart, can you come up and explain this to us?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, council members. This is a request by WD Plaza LLC, which is the owner of the Winn-Dixie Plaza. They have a space in the northwest corner of the property that is currently being utilized as what's called an ancillary parking facility. Concession parking ancillary facility. And what that does is essentially supports beach concession parking, beach concession wagons. So basically what it does is, they have storage in there for their equipment, for food. It's an office as well, and it basically supports the wagons and the business of the wagons.
Like the trucks?
Yes, the trucks. So what it doesn't do is it doesn't allow or permit for food preparation or cooking or anything like that. That's a commissary, which is something totally different. So in 2017, the previous city council approved a special exception to allow this facility on the property. So it's not a permitted use by right, it's permitted through a special exception. In 2017, when the city council approved it, because of the way the code is written, it was only for a 1-year period. However, the code also allowed for 5 1-year extensions. So every year thereafter, 2017, the applicant or the owner essentially has to come before the council for a 1-year extension. This is the 5th and final 1-year extension that's possible under the ordinance, and that's the reason why we're here today.
So, so what happens that we don't have 1 more year? Does this put it in permanently?
No, what this does is it gives them the final 1-year extension period. And sometime in between now and then, the property owner is going to be contacting the city, and we've already discussed it with him informally, to essentially change the ordinance or change the rule that would allow it to become a permanent use. At the time, 2017, the plan was, well, I don't want to get sidetracked, but at the time, the city council felt that it was best to only have it for a 6-year period. But with a new council and understanding that this is not a hazardous or this is not an adverse type of land use, we're going to look into making it permanent at some point in time in between now and when it actually expires next year.
So you're just asking for a 1 year right now?
This is what they're applying for, a 1-year extension.
And we can discuss it at that time. I'm not 100% sure that I want to make it permanent. I mean, what about if, development is happening in that area? Well, we could discuss it at that time, but, so right now, we're only approving for 1 year.
Correct, and this is on the Winn-Dixie proper. So it's not any other property. This property qualifies for the extension, and that's the reason why we're here tonight.
Vice Mayor?
I know we're approving, or being asked to approve 1 year. In the previous 4 years, have we had any issues?
No, and so the way the ordinance was written in 2016-17 to actually approve this, it was written in such a way that there were quarterly inspections, to ensure that they meet all their codes, that they're doing exactly what they're saying, and so far they've never failed an inspection. And as you can see in the staff report that's attached in front of you tonight, they passed the most recent quarterly inspection, and so all is good from our standpoint as staff.
Okay, would this ever set a precedence if we allowed them to do it here? Could Publix or someone else, ask for the same thing?
They would have to meet all the criteria, because the special exception is actually permitted in the code, but it's only permitted in the GCRD district. So Publix is not in the GCRD district, Publix is in the GC2 district, so they wouldn't qualify. But another property that would qualify for it in the GC2 district would have to meet all the other requirements of the code in order to actually have staff bring it before you and recommend approval.
Okay. Is there any other property, and which code did you say this one is? The Winn-Dixie is GCR what?
GCRD, which is our General Commercial Redevelopment District.
Is there any other properties in that same district that could ask us for something like
I
this?
think there might be a couple, but in order for them to qualify, they actually have to have a legitimate and bona fide beach concession parking operation on the site. And so I don't think there are many of those in that area.
Just want to make sure that we understand it completely before we go ahead. I'm all right with one more year, but the year after that, I think, is then we'll have to have a discussion.
Sure.
In terms of the future, we could do a similar thing and not have a permanent, but we could have it.
Yes, the code would have to be amended, however, because right now the code reads a 1-year approval and then 5 years of 1-year extensions. So basically a total of 6 years. So because this is their 6th year, the code would have to, and I'm looking at legal counsel to advise me here, my understanding is that the code would have to be amended in order to permit this one particular property to have follow-up extensions.
Or we could start over.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. They could either start over, or we could have 3 extensions, or whatever, you know. It doesn't have to be permanent.
Okay, we'll look at it at that time, but as it is right now, if it's the 1-year extension, do we need a motion on this, Becky?
Yes.
All right, do I hear a motion for the 1-year extension?
I move we approve the 1-year extension.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Any discussions or any other questions? Okay, if nothing, Sherry, can you take a roll, please?
Councilmember Bryan?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Lindauer?
Yes.
Councilmember Clovis?
Yes.
Councilmember Frizzlone?
Yes.
Mayor Miller?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, now we'll go on to council comments. We'll start with you, Councilman Bryan. What do you have for us?
I've been talking with Kurt about getting a better ROI on our cash. I think we may have on the order of $20 million that if we put them in a variety of treasury bills, we could probably get as much as 1.5% to 2% greater ROI. And that, in terms of dollars, could mean $300,000 to $400,000 a year. And treasuries are about as safe as you can get. So he's looking into that, and I think normally in the past, treasuries haven't been a very good option, but at least right now, the rates are pretty high, treasury bills.
Thank you. Yeah, let's make sure that we include our new finance director in those conversations going forward. Okay.
I'm sure Kurt has, yeah.
Okay. Anything else for you, Councilman Bryan?
No, that's it.
Okay. Vice Mayor?
Yeah, I just want to add on to what Richard said, and that is that I've been harping on this since I got in office, and I know they're tired of hearing it, but it looks like we're finally going to get some action now. And Kurt, I did talk to Kurt, an overview, and I'd be glad to talk to Laurie if we want to follow up on this. But I do think that we really have to do something to get a decent return on our money in a risk-free manner. So I think that that's the direction we're moving in. And with the amount of money that we have, it can make a difference when we talk about 2.3 points. And the Fed is raising the rates right now, as everybody's aware, and we're starting to get over 3%, where we're getting, we're talking about getting 0.1 and 0.2 and 0.5. So we stand to make a lot of money without taking risk, and that's what we want to do. So.
Okay. Well, thank you. I'm just going to go over the events that are going to happen between now and our next meeting. The only one I can think of, and I'm going to ask our Director Maddox to correct me, is that we will be having the Armed Forces Day on the 21st. That is going to be a wonderful event out here in our Veterans Park. It's going to start at 10 o'clock in the morning. We're going to have Jake Johansson, who is a retired captain from the Navy or commander from the Navy, as our guest speaker. Just a wonderful time to honor everyone that has served, that is currently serving, that I know it's dear to all of you. And then afterwards, we are going to have barbecue. All are welcome. It's free. Please come.
And coffee with the mayor.
Oh, and then, I forgot, tomorrow morning, we are going to have coffee with the mayor, same time, 10 o'clock a.m., but our guest speaker is going to be our very own city manager, Michael Booker. So, we'll have him tell some stories about how things have changed in the past 22 years. maybe some people will be there to roast him. So, please come to that too, and just share some of your memories with Mike. It's, yesterday I talked about at the round table, this is starting to be a very, very bittersweet time, because we're losing our city manager, but yet we're very, very happy for him. I know Tracy has some travel plans for him, and maybe a lot of honeydews around the house, but yeah, let's just come out tomorrow and honor him and show him how much he means to us. Thank you. Councilman Frizzle?
Yeah, I just, Mike, you've done, what you've done is remarkable, and I'm looking forward to your barbecue, and not looking forward to your retirement, given how successful and what a great job that you have done here, but you've done a marvelous job. Richard, I give you high compliments for the treasuries. I think that is a no-brainer. I would really strongly recommend that you do a 1 and 2 year ladder. As you're talking $200,000-$300,000 a year in actually free money. You couldn't get a safer investment, and interest rates are very attractive, especially with treasuries. So to Richard, to you, kudos. But again, thank you for coming out tonight. And again, Mike, I look forward to celebrating your retirement and all you've done over the last 2 decades.
Thank you. Councilman Politis?
I really don't have much. I want to dovetail Councilman Frizzalone's comments. That's a smart idea that Richard approached Kurt, and while it's sitting there, let's get it to yield as much as we possibly can, offset expenses and stuff. I think it's great, and this is such a volatile time of the world. At least we have some kind of safe haven for preservation of capital, so to speak. Other than that, I have gotten a few calls about the upcoming trucks, and I tell them the same thing. I said, we have a great relationship with other law enforcement agencies. I'm sure the chief and the captain are going to speak with the other counterparts and prepare for it. Hope for the best and prepare for the worst.
Great. And can you tell us, you have already talked to them about mutual aid?
Yes, we've already.
You want to come up and tell us maybe some of your plans? That's fine too.
We're going to do similar to what we did for the Trucktoberfest that we had a lot of success with. We're bringing in probably 10 other law enforcement agencies to supplement our manpower. We're going to stage tow trucks in the area, and the Volusia County Department of Corrections will be in-house at our jail, so we will be able to turn prisoners over to them immediately and put our people back on the street.
Great, great. And then they will be bringing them out to the jail?
The Volusia County Sheriff's Office is doing the prisoner transport for us. They partnered with us on this.
Great, and it worked out well last time.
It did. Yes. And, I don't want to set the expectations too high. If there could be so many trucks that it doesn't matter if we had 250 officers out there, but we're going to do the best that we can.
Great, appreciate it, thank you. Okay, now we're going to...
I have a question for Mike. At the meeting where Senator Wright was here, he said he was going to try to help this U-turn issue. You remember?
Correct.
Has that been followed up?
We haven't. We were actually discussing that today. What we're going to do is reach out to the DOT and ask them to do a reassessment of that intersection. We looked at it, and if we did away with the U-turns, our concern is that the people trying to get into CVS that are the ones that are making that U-turn from Dunlawton to A1A may actually start to back traffic up, which would then block the intersection itself. We may make a bigger problem than what we have now. So we're asking for a full reassessment and for them to come up with an answer for us.
That's good, because I wasn't involved enough to know whether what the lady was asking for was a good idea or not, but I was impressed at least that Senator Wright said, I'll do whatever I need to do to try to help.
Okay, next we'll move on to audience comments. Carrie Kentron, if you'd like to come up. Just state your name and address again, please.
Hi, my name is Kari Kenton. I live at 3234 Guacaloma Avenue. It's nice to see you again. I came in today because the last time I was here, you guys voted for the center right next to my house. And then you said you approved it as long, pretty much as they put a fence up. surrounding the area. So in good faith, I took your word for it and their word for it. They did install a fourth of a fence, and I called the fencing company to ask them, when they were going to finish putting the fence around so that it would separate my house from the counseling center right next door. And they said they're not doing it. So I just came to show you the pictures because I'm a little concerned because whenever people park in the church parking lot, sometimes they have people that wait out, just random people that wait out in their car for hours at a time, and they can see right into my backyard. And obviously my front yard too, but my kids have a playground and we have a pool and everything back there where they play most of the day. And then also they have a table out there that I've also seen them just go out there to do their counseling or therapy or whatever sessions, where they're sitting right next to where my kids are playing, and it just seems really weird, just random people staring into my backyard. So I was a little upset whenever they didn't put the fence up in the backyard too, as they had told me that they would. So here's the pictures.
Okay, thank you. Okay, anything else? Because I'm going to ask our community service director to follow up on this, please. Do you have any feedback today, or do you want to follow up with the church tomorrow?
I'll follow up with the church, but what I can tell you, council members, Madam Mayor, is that the permit that was approved was only for the first section, because there is a fence, an existing fence in the rear yard, and so the city approved the fence to the front of the yard. We did not anticipate, an issue in terms of having people over on the rear side of the parking lot for the church property, seen all the way over into Ms. Kenton's property. The table, that's an accessory use. Having people, in a backyard, whether it's an office or a single-family home, is a customer and accessory use. But we can take a look and see what concerns are out there.
Yes, please follow up. I think the church would be more than willing, if they put up that much of a fence. My understanding was that it was going to cover, the whole property. So if you could please look into that. Sure. I appreciate it. Okay, thank you for coming this evening. Do you want these pictures back, or?
No. The only thing I do want to say is I know that the table is an accessory use, but it's not like a neighborhood. They're just random people, a bunch of random people that go to therapy or counseling. You know what I mean?
If I may, Madam Mayor, I completely agree with you 100%. The agreement that we made with them is that they would put a fence in, and they need to put the fence in. So we appreciate you coming here, but I think the mayor is all over it. I think she's given proper direction, and the fence will go in there.
I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you so much for coming here. Okay, so now we are going to move on to items recommended for the next agenda. Does anyone have anything besides what we would normally have on our agenda? Okay, if not...
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
I do have one item, just some good news. I received word late this afternoon that Chase has agreed to our proposed amendments to the purchase and sale agreement, so that will be on the next agenda.
Great, thank you. Great, moving along. Can I bring up a sore topic? Do we know yet who purchased our Bank of America property? No. Okay,
Do we know that no one has closed on it?
They have closed on it, correct.
I believe it was a 90-day close, so I don't think they are quite to that point yet. But the bid was awarded to somebody, definitely.
And there's no...
We have no idea who that is, and I asked the attorney from JLL, and he was not willing to share that. He said it was up to the buyer.
Okay, do you have a question?
You answered it.
Okay, and I guess my question is, Stuart, do you find it odd, just from your experience, that no one has reached out to us with any questions about what it's zoned for, what can I build there, what variance do I need? You have heard nothing about that property? Is that unusual?
It could be considered unusual, but there was a larger zoning verification company that maybe about 2 or 3 months ago reached out to me. Maybe it was preliminary work for the person that actually won the bid. Typically, whenever somebody purchases a property in the shores, that size of a property in that location, they would reach out to me. But my guess is that maybe it was one of these larger firms that reached out to me a couple months ago, but they just didn't disclose who the actual owner was or the client was.
Okay. At what point will we know? After the closing? I mean, what's on the property manager's website? Is that when we'll know? Okay.
Yes.
All right. Okay, thank you.
And Stuart, could that also be a straw buyer, so that when the closing, we don't know who the real owner is?
It's absolutely possible, yes.
All righty. Okay, I didn't have any other audience comments, so is there anyone else that wanted to say anything? As I always do. Okay, if not, thank you very much for coming. Thank you people online for listening, and hope to see you tomorrow.